Hey everybody, it's Phil Strazula from Select Software Reviews. I'm here with Beth White, the founder of MeBeBot. Beth, thank you so much for taking the time out. Do you mind giving a little bit of background on yourself and kind of what you're up to these days?
Yes, thanks, Phil. First of all, for having me here. I'm Beth White. I'm the founder and CEO of MeBeBot. I'm in Austin, Texas, and MeBeBot is designed to elevate the employee experience. And what we're doing is we're leveraging AI and automation to do so. So we're all about how to help employees be more empowered within the workplace with a new digital front door to guide them down the path to their experiences, whether they're working in office, remote, or hybrid. So we really are kind of bringing together the world of the employee to the company so that we can facilitate great communications, employee support for their questions, and even pulse surveys as well.
Cool. And what I'd love to do is just spend the next 20 minutes or so talking about employee experience and specifically how AI is impacting it today at certain companies, how HR teams are leveraging it, and then also where is this going in the next 5 years? Do you mind setting the table with just what's your definition of employee experience?
Wow, that's a good question because I know that's the probably somewhat misunderstood. I I frankly was a history major in college, so I spent over 15 years in HR myself. So I like to think about the history of HR and how it's evolved over time. And really, we went from an era of HR being a very process admin kind of functionality. Employee experience was really just more stages and processes of things going through steps. And then I believe we turned a corner and there was the whole buzz of employee engagement, getting employees more engaged, really thinking about the employee, as the value that they really do bring to the organization. And now the next layer is this employee experience, which really is taking a look at how do we empower that employee to be their best selves at work. I mean, we're very passionate about making work more meaningful. And so when you think about the employee experience, it's frankly not an HR siloed issue. It is really being embraced by IT teams, facilities, every aspect of the company. It's how do we streamline internal operations and processes? How do we learn more about our people so that we can serve up valuable information and guide them down career trajectories that really are a fit for them? And ideally, the ultimate goal is not only to use employee experience to attract net new talent into the organization, but to really grow that individual once they come within the organization and retain top talent. That's frankly, I think that should be every company's main goal is how do we keep great people within our organization and help them thrive?
That's great. And it is sort of this all-encompassing term. And my mind, of course, goes to all the different technologies that touch, all these different aspects of the employee experience, employee lifecycle. Do you mind telling us a little bit about maybe some of the specific ways that AI, artificial intelligence, is impacting the employee experience today?
Yeah, there's a ton of different ways that AI is in the background that maybe employees know about, maybe they don't. I mean, there's a lot of core systems of record, whether it be your HR system or, even accounting and financial systems that are using AI to potentially generate reports that frankly give employees better data to do their own jobs. So that's one aspect of it. Of course, there's the aspect of what MeBeBot provides, which is an AI chatbot that allows employees with a new, I call it user interface or the front door, to be able to get access to information more quickly to serve their needs. So it's all about how do we use AI. What is AI? It's basically allowing machines to process information more quickly, allowing them to be able to learn and to grow and to develop and be more helpful to us as humans. And so I always think of AI as augmenting the human role within inside the organization. And frankly, we had this great blog that was published last week on our website at mebebot.com that talks about how to think about adding AI into your organization to make more what we call a super team. So augmenting your own people with the AI technology, whether it be MeBeBot as an AI assistant, leveraging AI for generating reports. And then the other area that can't not mention is all the buzz around generative AI. And you've probably heard about ChatGPT, Bard, you'll hear other names coming about soon, but that's all about how do we produce. Frankly, I see that as a benefit for producing content that gives us a basis and a draft, but frankly, it has a lot of work. You know, it's still in its infancy, but I do believe it will help people be more productive within the workplace. And it's not all about productivity, it's working smarter. You know, when you think about people and evolving, and, you know, I've been an employee at companies, and when I'm my best self at a company, I'm being challenged, I'm doing the harder work. And when you allow the AI to take on tasks that are more routine and process oriented, it really helps us all excel. And frankly, it helps the overall company succeed.
Mm. Can you give a couple of concrete examples around how somebody could, in their day-to-day, leverage, like, I'm trying to do X, I used to do it this way, and now I can do it this way?
Yeah, let's see. Well, if I think about, like, for example, if you're, you know, in HR, here's a good example, and you were tasked to coming up with a remote work policy, right? That was a task that a lot of people had, you know, in the last couple of years when everyone went home for the pandemic. You can actually leverage ChatGPT, Open AI Bard, whatever you want to do to say, you know, help me write a draft for a remote work policy. And it will actually come up with a draft of a remote work policy. Now, whether that's really hitting all the buttons for your particular workplace, maybe, probably not. But does it give you a great basis where you become a content editor instead of a content creator? Yes. So that's one example of how I can see, you know, the roles of HR utilizing generative AI. And now, as far as like AI chatbots like MeBeBot, what the benefit our customers receive from using AI within the workplace is they're freed up time. Because typically a lot of AI, you know, well, first of all, a lot of employee questions are either filtered through, you know, ticketing systems, inboxes, or frankly, directly to those HR business partners or individuals. When they're leveraging AI chatbots to automate answers to questions, then they're gaining not only time back in their day to focus on more strategic work, but what MeBeBot generates is data. So we produce data within our dashboard that actually shares the information and insights about people. So people analytics is another huge area of leveraging AI. So many of the HRCM solutions also have HR, you know, our people analytics tools where you can actually run reports that are more sophisticated on things like retention and turnover, et cetera. And so leveraging the aspects of AI built into potentially technology you already own, looking for solutions that will help you speed up processes, are great first steps down a path, because it doesn't have to be intimidating. I think that at times AI is seen as, you know, we see the movies, you know, and can be a big scary place. But it really is just, you know, how do you leverage a computer and machines to help you do things a little faster and to be a little bit more efficient? And I think thinking through the daily tasks of what you do and where there's an opportunity for disruption is frankly a great place to start. And that's really how MeBeBot came into existence, because I myself spent many years in HR, and no matter what company I went to, employees have these questions, and they're all kind of the same types of questions. It's just a different company. And you think about, that's one aspect of what you want to automate. There's other aspects of, you know, employee communications. How can you streamline the employee communication process? Leveraging AI for employee feedback. So there's a lot of ways to distribute different types of, you know, surveys, like pulse surveys we send out through our AI chatbot. So great opportunities to do things differently. So it's just about reshaping your thought process and just embracing, you know, the change agility that's required in this day and age. I mean, I don't think we can fight it. We might as well just move into it, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I like a couple of things about what you're saying. One is this whole idea of like augmentation versus replacing, right? I think some people are worried, hey, is this thing going to like take my job somehow? And it's like, not really. Like, it can write an okay first draft of your remote work policy. It's not going to be a great draft, you know, but
Right.
it's going to save you a lot of time and research. And so it's definitely going to help you, but it's not going to replace you as a person anytime soon. It feels like, and I
Mm,
think a great sort of evidence of that is like, your background. It's not like you've been doing a PhD on data analytics for the last 12 years and
mhm.
now you're in the AI space. Like you have all this practical knowledge and you kind of saw, hey, this paradigm shift coming, and you're an entrepreneur, and so you put together this business. But the average person can open up ChatGPT without any sort of real technical background and start getting value out of it day one.
Yeah, that is correct. And I mean, we've been using AI in our lives for years now. I mean, if you use Google Maps, if you have a Siri or Alexa device, you've been using AI, and it's just a matter of, that's really what brought MeBeBot together, is just seeing how we're using AI as consumers, and why not bring that value and that benefit that we all gain as consumers into the workplace. It only makes sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. What are your thoughts? So this technology, I think there's the ability for it to get better exponentially quickly. But I also realize that there can be a lot of false dawns within artificial intelligence. And I'm thinking specifically of something that Elon Musk said about self-driving Teslas, where they kind of thought it would be there in 2018. Here we are, 2023, and it's still not here. And it's sort of been predicted for, the last 7 or 8 years. It's going to be 18 months from now. Where do you think this technology is going to go specifically in the workplace? Like, are we going to see it get exponentially better so it can write the remote tool or the remote work policy, A plus in 18 months? Or is it going to kind of be like, a little bit of a plateau in terms of the effectiveness, still super useful, but we're not in the singularity, I guess.
Right. Well, I wish I had a crystal ball. However, I'll do my best to just share my insights. We've been, working in the AI spectrum for over 5 years now. And so what I saw was basically, a lot of buzz about it, and then probably more impractical use cases at first. And now the more we can apply AI to more practicality, the more I think it will exponentially go faster. I mean, there is some cost, concerns about the cost of processing data, and that may get expensive and prevent some people and create a barrier for entry for some. But there's easy ways to get, like what I always say, the crawl, walk, run approach. Just start simply with some what I call low-hanging fruit workplace scenarios that you can improve upon. And where I do see it going in 5 years, I mean, it is amazing how much better it is getting every day, since I've been even in this space. But I am, the same thought that probably Elon Musk had. It hasn't moved as fast as I thought it would. I actually thought it would move a lot faster. And maybe the pandemic slowed a little bit of it down. I don't know, because people were relegated to focus on other things that were obviously much more important, like health and safety of individuals. But I do see that with the introduction of, Microsoft, Google, the whole race of the big companies chasing this, it's going to get a lot faster now. So 5 years from now, we could see a lot of automation of a lot of the internal workflow processes that are typically manual within companies. Like, imagine onboarding an employee at a company and they use an AI chatbot like MeBeBot to do their whole onboarding process, right? Imagine applying or going through the open enrollment of benefits process, all through a chatbot. There's a lot of great ways that we can help both the employee be more self-empowered, but help the business get away from doing, frankly, things that have been broken for a while. I spent years doing benefits, so open enrollment season was always a nightmare, and it
Yeah,
hasn't gotten a whole lot better over the years,
kind of a
So
disaster.
yeah,
Yeah.
imagine that. And, then take it to the next level. I mean, half the issue with healthcare is that, if insurance companies leverage more AI for the processing of insurance claims, we'd probably be in a little bit better place, because there's a huge backlog right now with labor shortages. I mean, if I know that people believe that, we may be in a little downturn of the economy, but we still have a full labor shortage going on, and it is going to continue. And there are a lot of roles that are going unfilled. And if you can add AI into those roles, such as insurance processing of claims, we'll all have better access to healthcare that ideally, we're understanding, what's covered, what's not. It's frankly, it's a part of the employer responsibility when you're providing insurance for your employees. So I'd love to see us, smooth out some of those rough edges of things that have been rough for many years,
Yeah, I agree. I think the IRS hired like 80,000 people last year or something. There was some headline, and it's sort of like, why do they need another 80,000 people? There's a tremendous amount of fraud, as there is in, all different types of insurance, the healthcare system, et cetera. But why can't we leverage technology, I guess? And maybe it's two tech geeks saying that that's the answer to everything. My last question to you is, do you think that the sort of broader HCM suites, what is their strategy with AI? Is it to partner with a company like you guys? Is it to build something internally? Is it to leverage, some of these open source or projects like OpenAI to build their own sort of tooling? Is it, chatbot? Is it to do reporting? Like, where do you think that's going?
It's, again, that's a product roadmap, kind of confidentiality behind the scenes of some of the bigger players. But from what I can gather, and that's, using intelligence from going to conferences and talking to people in the space, I see them focusing a lot, frankly, they have a lot of work to do just in the core items like being able to pay people in a lot of different countries, right? I'm shocked at how we're in 2023 and there's a globalization that's been going on in the world. Sorry about that. And that I haven't seen, and many of our customers even struggle with some of the vendors they use that can't even do global payroll. I mean, we are a global workforce these days, and that has to be accommodated. So I think first and foremost, that's probably high on their roadmap, how they're going to keep up and augment themselves to be able to stay up. I believe the smart path for them would be to leverage partners like a MeBeBot to do what we do well, because it is, we've built a proprietary AI data model that's very well trained to understand the types of questions employees ask within the workplace. That's not something that you can flip a switch and get started right away. Same thing with companies who are in the space of people analytics and leveraging AI for people analytics reporting. They likely will be a better, have a stronger products. And so why not just kind of pull it all kind of together? But, I do know some of them are following their own paths and want to be the singular platform on their own. So I would imagine if you, are, of course, using an HCM, keep close to your vendor to find out and push them for what's on their roadmap and encourage them to leverage more and more AI and the underpinnings of the whole solution.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like sage advice. Beth, if somebody's listening to this and they're interested in following up with you or MeBeBot, like what's a good way to get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy if people reach out to me directly at beth.white@mebebot.com. We also have our website, mebebot.com. Follow us on LinkedIn. We have LinkedIn page, Twitter, and Facebook as well. So, and of course, we're on your site as listed as one of the top 11 HR chatbots. So thank you very much for that, Phil.
Of course. Thank you so much, Beth, for your time. It's been great chatting AI with you.
Wonderful to be having a chance to visit with you, Phil.